Hello and welcome back. In this video, we're going to be talking about homework. And homework's becoming a little bit of a controversial subject in the education realm. But what we want to be looking at is homework necessary for students' academic success? And we'll kind of talk about the pros and cons and what to expect with that in this video. First part of this video, we're going to be talking about what the role of homework is often, or what it can be, particularly about reinforcing learning. Second, we're going to be looking at the factors that can go into making a homework assignment worthwhile and beneficial. Third, we're going to be looking at the consequences if kids aren't getting homework. Fourth, we're going to talk about strategies involved in the implementation of homework. And last, we'll be giving more specific tips for both parents and teachers in the development of homework. There are several reasons homework can be given. It can be given to help students develop some discipline and time management skills, to reinforce learning, to get them to think beyond what was presented in the classroom. So they got to kind of process by answering questions and reflect on the things that went on in the classroom. So there's a lot of different reasons, but there has been a study done that shows that whatever those reasons are, that there's a positive correlation between students doing homework, being assigned homework, and their academic performance. So when they're given it, they perform it and do it, their academic performance improves. So there's that positive correlation that's important to consider as well. So one of the things that helps homework have more meaning are clear objectives. So when a student understands the purpose behind the assignment, then that helps them engage with it at the appropriate level. And again, there can be a lot of different reasons to give a homework assignment. A math teacher may be given it because they need the repetition. They need to practice solving these problems. In that case, it may be designed such that they give the assignment, but students know where they can find the right answer. So they can check their work, get that immediate feedback. That is one purpose. An English teacher may give extra reading assignment so that they can practice reading and then thinking about their reading. So along with the reading assignment, they have to do a quick journaling with certain guidelines the teacher has laid out for the student to practice reading, think about their reading, and communicate what they thought. When that's clearly outlined, those objectives for these different assignments, then students engage with it at that appropriate level. One of the other important factors, though, is for teachers to kind of understand where the students are at. And you want to make assignments challenging, but not overwhelmingly difficult, right? When student views the assignment as being overwhelming and impossible to figure out, they'll tend to quit. Now, in terms of mindset, it's important to push students, right? Particularly with this idea of trying to develop that growth mindset, you want to push them and emphasize work effort, not necessarily the outcome, but the effort they're putting in. So all those things will factor in. And then, of course, we got to talk about how teachers grade homework assignments. And that's grading is, and not just for homework, but that's another whole level of thought that needs to go in this. Is it an important part of their overall grade doing all these homework assignments? Are they being graded on the effort and the doing of it? Like, did it, check, you get 1 point, whatever. The level of and degree that those assignments count in the overall grade really should be thought about and factored in on exactly what it is you are grading, right? Or trying to reinforce. The effort the knowledge, the skill, what is it that you're processing? For example, a science teacher you do a science experiment, and then they have to do a lab report. Well, there's not enough time in class to do the lab report, so that becomes homework. Well, that lab report, very conceivably, could be an important part of the overall grade because of what the student is communicating about what they understood and learned from the experiment. So all of those things need to be clearly thought out, and not just kind of thrown out when you are giving homework to students. When students aren't given homework, they lose out on opportunities to practice. There's certain skills that they really need to do regularly to develop, particularly when they're a little bit younger, right? So if they aren't getting enough of that in class, then doing homework is where they need to develop those. And math is one that I think of regularly because I have seen numerous times where concepts are taught in school, and again, depending on the math program being utilized within the school, they are teaching the concept, the students are learning the why behind the concept, not just the how to do math, but the why behind it. But then they aren't given necessarily a whole lot of practice so that they get to really know the how, right? How to do it. It's one thing knowing the why. Oh, I finally get why this works, but you still have to do the math, right? So that idea of being able to reinforce the learning and reinforce skill sets is lost. The other piece is the discipline and self-discipline, and being able to be away from your normal learning environment and create another learning environment. And the discipline around structuring and learning outside of that normal framework is really quite a valuable skill and can be lost if there's nothing done outside of that. Now, this is all a little bit different if you're homeschooling because it's all, you totally control the day, right? So when we're talking about homework, we're really talking about public school settings. So one of the trends that have been happening in schools is shying away from homework because of the stress being put on students as they try to balance all their activities and all life, and they complain so much about having too much work. It's creating too much stress. There's a real danger in that pendulum swinging back too far in the direction of no homework. And the danger in that is students don't learn how to really manage their time, balance the stress, how to manage the stress, because a lot of times that stress is internally created. It's anxiety about what they're doing. It's what they're imagining will happen. And it's not utilizing their time well, which is why they get back from some sporting event or something that they've been involved in at 9 o'clock at night and have 2 hours of homework because they didn't manage the time well during the school day to be able to get that done. So there's so many factors that go into that. And swinging it back to like no homework isn't really the answer. But implementing homework but in a strategically smart way is important. What is a strategically smart way? Clearly stated objectives. Something that's not overwhelming for time or intellectual effort. So in other words, you want to push them and challenge them, but not overwhelm them. There should be an expectation that students do have some work outside of the normal school hours. All of those things need to be clearly delineated and told and upfront with the students. When teachers are designing the homework, understanding what your purpose is for that homework, having open communication with other teachers, right? So that they've got, the student has 6 classes and you each are signing an hour's worth of homework. Well, that's unreasonable, right? That's 6 hours worth of homework. That's kind of crazy when kids are in school for 6 hours a day. So, you need to be kind of conscious of all those things as you create homework assignments. So in this case, I'm going to be talking primarily to parents. If there's an expectation, even from you, even if the school has maybe shied away from homework, an expectation for you to have your child intellectually engaged at home, trying to block off time for that intellectual growth, personal growth. There's some things you can do. One is model it yourself, right? Are your children seeing you reading? Are they seeing you maybe taking some online courses? Are they seeing you doing some work at home? Those things are very beneficial, particularly for younger child as you begin to set that up. The expectation that you're going to be doing something at home, even if it's reading and having a discussion with you about what they read, even if that's not necessarily related to what the school has assigned. Being able to stay on top of your child, right? So do a check-in, like, what do you have for homework? Show it to me. Tell me about it. Teach me, right? When you engage your child that way and they have to explain what they've learned, teach you what they're doing, that helps them synthesize the information and spit it back. It's a very valuable thing to do. Those are simple tips where you as a parent can help make that homework experience purposeful, intentional, and really develop something that's going to carry them through beyond just like high school, but into college and after. Please consider subscribing to our channel. We've got lots of these videos out there, adding more all the time, lots of different areas as we get questions from all kinds of broad spectrum. So I encourage you to subscribe. When you subscribe, you can also find my podcasts on there with interviews coming out fairly regularly. And you might want to specifically check out the video, How to Develop an Academically Successful Child.